Okay, let's do it.
Hi and welcome everybody. Welcome to our Women in Tech Speak Up. And today I'm really excited because I've got Madhumalti with me. And she is doing an awful lot in the space of supporting women, but also girls into the space of technology. And she's written a book. She's got a not-for-profit. She also works. So I'm going to let her actually just introduce herself a little bit. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what's important to you?
Okay. Hi, Sarah. Hi, everyone who's later. I'm Madhumalti Sharma. I'm a technology professional who's been working in tech for more than 25 years. And I love your question about what you're most interested about. So actually, there are a lot of things that I'm interested in, but they all focus around technology, trying to get more girls and women in technology from the perspective of a creator rather than passionate about. Um, I started out as a developer and I have worked in many technology companies across my career. But along with that, I have also done community service, so to speak, and involved in activities which are related to bringing more underprivileged children or people from less fortunate parts of society or young people into technology and making it accessible for them. So I moved to Luxembourg in 2009, and I have been in India and traveling all over the world before that. And I set up a nonprofit called Workshop for Me. So if you're interested, you can go look up Workshop for Me, the number 4.org. And through that, we create the problem solvers of the future using coding, robotics, AI, and different forms of technology. And I feel really happy about the fact that we were able to bring coding as part of the primary school curriculum in the country of Luxembourg. So this is one of the things that I involve myself in outside of a regular day job. So this is what I spend my weekends on. And with this, to go with this and to grow the community, I also wear several hats which kind of further this thing that I'm passionate about, technology and getting more young people and the public and women and girls into tech. I play the role of the EU Code Week ambassador within Luxembourg, trying to promote several coding activities, organize stuff myself as well. I also wear the hat of national coordinator for the EU Robotics Week in Luxembourg. And I'm also part of the community, which I'm very happy to share with you, Sarah, the G100 community of global women who would like to be able to give a voice to women across different sectors. And I wear the hat of the robotics and automation G100 country leader for Luxembourg. So these are like different hats that I wear towards working towards this. So this is what I generally do. And yeah, you mentioned my book. I would like people to think that technology is not so difficult. It is approachable. It's not something to just use, but be able to create with it. So yes, I actually wrote a book. It's called Let's Code Python, and this is good for both adults and children for those who want to start their text based programming journey. So within Workshop for Me, we actually start with drag and drop programming, where people are just doing the kids are building blocks like Lego and then creating projects. But once they have done it for some time and they have created mobile apps by doing drag and drop, then the ones who want to really get their hands dirty and write actual code using text, Python is a great language to start with. So I decided to write this book during COVID, and yeah, it has been interesting so far. So thanks for inviting me, Sarah. I would love to hear a little bit more about you as well. You do a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah, indeed. I honestly, whenever I have these conversations, I'm always amazed. It's like you do this and this and this and this and this. And I so often hear this that, those of us who we've got multiple roles, it's a bit like me. I've got a business where I'm a coach, but like you, I'm in the G100 global team for robotics and automation. I'm the Germany chair. I've also got a not-for-profit, which is Women in Climate Tech and Innovation. And again, it's all around, moving the conversation for creating space to actually develop the future. So obviously we're all working currently in the current paradigm, but we all want to drive a very different looking future, a future where more people have got more opportunities. And that's what really stands out for what you've said, is about how we create those opportunities for others. And so, you know, with everything that you're doing, why is it important for you to kind of open up the space within tech to more girls and women?
So I think this is a very simple answer, right? Girls and women are 50% of the population. So they should have 50% of a role, at least a 50% of role in every single thing that we do. Whether you look at, usage of mobiles, usage of technology in terms of whether it's a smart fridge or, any app or anything that you think about, women are half of the people who are using it. So of course they should have a say in creating it as well. This makes me actually think, when there were apps created for face detection, some things went terribly wrong because people of color were not part of sharing the data set, and therefore the faces, when they would come in front of the phone, would not get recognized. So this was like an eye opener for people who were building it, right? That in order to make your solution work for the world, you have to be able to take people from all the different aspects, and women are 50% of the population, so we have to definitely get more girls and women into tech. And one of the ways is by, by creating spaces for women to come forward and share their story, so that other young girls and women who look at it say, hey, I can do it too. It's, I mean, if she can do it, I can do it too. And it shouldn't feel like, when you Google a coder, that there would be like a nerd with a baseball cap and a t-shirt having pizza in his basement. I mean, that shouldn't be the image that comes up on Google or in somebody's mind when they think of someone in tech. They should think about this girl who likes pink, who likes to dress up, who's actually coding as well. I mean, I think we have to make it inclusive. That's why it's important, Sarah. It's really important.
Yeah, it's definitely important that we have all the voices around the table. And, I was listening to the UN Committee of the Status of Women back in March this year. And the UN Secretary General is saying, without the insights and the perspectives of half the world, we're only going to achieve half the potential of technology. And that to me was kind of putting it into very succinct words, in that, yeah, we can't fulfill the potential of, the amazing technologies we've got around us unless we've got everybody around the table. And that's obviously, we're talking women, and it's not just about the women. It's always, it's all about the women. It's nothing about the women. It is about creating that space where anybody who's interested. And I think as we, where we are at is like a turning point right now, because there's so much focus on generative AI, let's just put that one out there, that all of a sudden you've got people in different areas getting interested. And like you say, it's almost like we need to help lower the boundaries and help them realize they can get involved, because we need psychologists, we need all these different skill sets all of a sudden within tech to be able to develop those solutions so that they are applicable to everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. It is so. And I mean, I also love the fact that, we talk about AI, and a lot of times people who are saying AI don't really know what it is. So one of the other things that I am passionate about, and which we do through our organization, is organize workshops so that people understand what AI is and how it is going to affect them. So, earlier in the year, we ran a workshop, and we are going to be doing one for to celebrate EU Code Week as well. We are going to help children and adults create a Snapchat filter of their own. So they will learn about face recognition by actually creating an app where they can put googly eyes, a hat on their head, or a mustache, or a bow, or whatever, and see that when they move their head around, then those objects will be able to detect the face and actually move with it. So I think that when people see it, in action, and then create an app that uses AI, I think then it starts to make a little bit more sense, and we understand it. And then it's no longer, just a buzzword out there which you hear all the time, or which you read in articles all the time. Then there is this aha moment where you feel, I know what this is about. So that part of it for me is also a very important, task that we
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, and I mean, you've talked about role models, and again, we've got to, like you say, this is the reason I do these conversations is to try and raise more and various voices, because it is super important that people recognise it. It could be me. I can do that. You know, there are people that look like me, that sound like me, they've got similar interests in me, that are doing this. But how did you kind of how did you find your way into technology?
I think I just went into it without even realizing it was just something that interested me. I started doing GW basic programming in school, when I was in standard 9, around 15, 16-year old. Whereas the kids who do coding with us now are 6-year olds. So, I was so behind, so to speak, compared to today's generation. But I was just interested in it. It was part of something we were starting in school. And I said, yeah, this is interesting for me. So I remember when I was doing my bachelor's, I decided to also enroll for a program and do tech. So I did my accounting degree and also computers at the same point of time. And somehow this was more interesting for me. And at that time, so I also wanted to apply and become a chartered accountant, because a lot of my friends at that time who were doing finance and accounting with me were doing it. So I went and told my dad, Dad, I want to do that as well. I'm going to give it a shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it's fine. And then he told me, look, you have to decide what you want to do and put everything into it. Only then it's going to work. So he says, you have to choose. Do you want to do chartered accountancy, or do you want to do computers and actually do this? And this was way back where technology was not so much of a thing at all. I'm talking about 30 years ago. And um, and I said, oh, if I have to go by interest, then definitely, tech is my interest area. And he actually made me choose, and I didn't get into accounting. I have a lot of friends who are chartered accountants who are doing well for themselves too, but then they say, oh, you're doing tech, which is a better or a lucrative or a more fun thing to be in. And I think the important point for me now when I look back is about deciding and choosing things that we like to do. That's how I actually ended up getting into tech. And I remember when I started working, I was a very small part of the women professionals in tech at that point of time. Even when I was studying, there weren't a lot there. But I didn't ever realize it. It wasn't something that came to me like, I'm among the minority. It was only much later in my career where I then got involved in programs to, focus on diversity, try to get more young girls and young professionals into tech, or, do training programs for young IT professionals so that they're able to speak up and make their point heard, not feel that they are not heard. When I got initiatives like this, and then I started looking back and thinking, yeah, that's actually true. I never even realized that I was among the minority, and we have to do something about it. So I just ended up being here, Sarah. I mean, what can I say? I just have to be honest. It wasn't that I kind of, had everything laid out and chose my path. I just followed this path because this was interesting for me.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on a really good point. You know, it's not always about planning, and even with the best laid plans, it's not going to end up where you plan it to be. But that doesn't mean necessarily it's going to not be fun. You touch on something which is, your dad got you to focus and to choose what it was you wanted. But I'm wondering, what does success look like or mean to you right now?
Oh, my definition of success has changed over the years. And I remember when I was young, it was about getting into a higher position in terms of my organization, or
I'm
earning
just
more
laughing because this is
salary.
obviously very similar to me. So keep going. I like this.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, so that's why I'm saying that my definition of success has kind of changed over the years. But I'm not saying that my definition of success is the right one and everyone should follow it. I think you should go with the flow and let it evolve for yourself. That's what I would say. For me right now, the definition of success is when I'm happy with how things are around me in my day. So on a day to day basis, it could be a day when I've eaten healthy, when I've been able to do some exercise, when I've accomplished something in my work, and something related to my non-profit, whether I've been able to participate in one of the European calls successfully, or something like that, something that brings me joy going by Mary Kondo, deciding whether I should keep some outfit or not if it brings me joy. So for me, it's related to if I'm happy with the way things are, I mean, I'm successful. And I mean, Sarah, whether if I go by my age, I think every single day that I'm getting to do what I like to do is something to celebrate. And for me, that's success.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact that you bring up immediately that success changes over time, because I think a lot of people struggle with this. And it's something that it's almost like the more you go through and the older you get, actually, you see this more clearly. But you do speak quite openly around what's there for you. You're talking about all the different areas of your life. So that, that's speaking courageously. But what does it take for you to actually have that voice, to be able to use your voice in that way?
Like, I'm not sure I understand. Use my voice in
So
what
to
way?
be able to use your voice courageously, to say what you think, and to actually be able to speak up and, like you say, attend some of these European calls and actually be heard.
I think this is just the way I am, Sarah. I mean, it's not that I have consciously worked towards making this happen. Um, it is definitely a personality trait. And again, it has evolved over the years. So maybe I did not speak up as much when I started out, but over the years, I have picked up tools on what I need to be able to make my voice heard. It could be about speaking clearly. It could be about making sure that my voice is powerful enough to be heard. It's about being able to back whatever I say with data or something which is going to be engaging for people to listen to. So all of those soft skill aspects of being able to get your voice heard, and then keep on and on practicing and actually keeping on doing it, till you become comfortable about it. So I had recently spoken at a conference where I spoke about how to tame the monkey and take the stage. And this was about this little monkey which is there sitting on our back or on our head, where every time we try to say something or do something, this monkey says, hey, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you can't do that, who do you think you are? And kind of tries to belittle us. It doesn't have to be coming from the outside, it's just this little monkey sitting on our own shoulder or our back. And it's about practicing and getting over this thing, because there are a lot of mindsets that we've possibly grown up with as young girls and women, or there are a lot of factors which have actually gone into making this monkey strong. So following strategies to tame this little monkey and make it listen to me, so that's lot of great books and lot of great material available to be able to know more. If you're interested, there is Judith Humphreys Taking the Stage book, which is a great one, and she talks about how you should create a script to be able to make your point come across. There is also this book called Chatter, which actually talks about the little monkey and how it actually affects us. So, yeah, a lot of reading material out there. So, I think it's about consciously working towards making your voice heard and then actually going and doing it in all of the places. Slowly, it gets better. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to improve every day. That's the idea.
Yeah, no, I love that. And yes, this internal voices that we all have. And, I often use positive intelligence with some of my clients to actually understand what it sounds like. And so you can overcome it and at least understand what it's trying to actually save you from, so that you can actually move forward. But you talk a lot about how you've developed over the last kind of 30 years or however long you say that you've been working. But who or what supported you the most during this time to kind of be on that journey?
Oh, a lot of people, a lot of people. I think that we need a support system to be able to thrive and do better. So whether it is family, whether it is colleagues, friends, everyone plays a role in order to be able to make it happen. There are also those people who challenge you and put you off and say you're never going to be able to do it. Sometimes I have done things just to be able to prove them wrong. So I think they have also been contributing in my journey to be able to make it better. I think it's all of these different things, right? One person I want to definitely call out to is my mom in law. I remember I had to travel. I was in India at that time, and I had to travel to the US for a particular project. This was a very good opportunity for me professionally, and my son was 2.5 years old, and I had to travel for a longer period of time, like 6 months or so, and I was not comfortable in doing it. And she had never actually stepped out of the house or lived alone before this, but she agreed to move with me to a new country to look after my son at that point of time. And if she wouldn't have been able to do it, I wouldn't have been able to take that opportunity or be able to learn. So I also think it's a lot of things like this which or people like this who actually help and support you and make things happen. I can think of managers who have in my professional life actually helped in make me move forward by giving me the right feedback, by giving me the right opportunities, and helping me move forward in my career on that way. Another person is my husband. I remember when I had my son, and he was 6 months old, and it was time for me to go back to work. I said, I can't do this. No way. He's such a small kid. How can I just leave him and go back to work? And he really made me do it. He said, no, you have to go back to work, because at some point of time, I mean, you're going to want to uh, would have liked to be in that position. So at that time, I didn't understand this at all. But when I look back at it today, I wouldn't have had these 25, 30 years of experience if he hadn't made me go back. And then I had my daughter after that, after 5 years. And then it was easy for me because I had done it before. I know it works. You can actually go back to work, have a professional career, and be a good mom or whatever it is that you want to do with your life. So yeah, there are a lot of people like this, Sarah. And then the community, like I said, people in the G100, for instance, all of us, we talk to each other about our experiences of the things which are challenging for us and how we have overcome it. And I think communities and support groups like this is what help women go forward, because you don't have to experience everything yourself, right? You can hear from people who have done it and try to take tips and whatever works for you. So I mean, a lot of people have had an impact in
It's
being able to
interesting
move
because they
forward.
often say that it takes a village to bring up a child, but it also takes a village to, help someone in their career. We
Absolutely.
so often focus in on what we can do and how we can move. And actually, we do need to pull in all these different inputs, perspectives, because that's the only way we can figure out actually what feels right to us. What's the right decision for me based on, the variety of things that are coming up. And like you say, we need support and trying to understand where to ask for help, like your mother-in-law coming with you and giving you that opportunity. Those are all things that play into who we then become, and how we help other people around us as well, which is one of the things that I always quite like. It kind of shapes us into the leaders that we become. So
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
what is it out of all of the things that you've done that you would say you're most proud of achieving?
Oh, that's a really tough one, Sarah, because for me,
I
every
don't
little
ask
win,
easy questions.
yeah, I know. Every little win is a good one. If there is a day where I have been able to, stick to my goal of eating healthy, I feel really proud of that as well. I think these small wins are important to celebrate. I don't want to just have it like, oh, I became the uh, inspiring 50 women in tech in Belgium. I got that award, and that's what made me proud. Or, oh, I was able to bring coding as part of the primary school curriculum of Luxembourg, and that's what makes me proud. It's not just all of those things. For me, I think every single little thing is important because it makes it happen. Today I was able to successfully submit a report to the client which helped them in their business. For me, that makes me proud. Nobody else will know it, it's just them and me, but that makes me proud. The fact that I ate healthy sprouted lentils this morning, that makes me proud. I was able to stick to this thing about following a healthy regime today. That makes me proud. I have not been able to go out for a walk yet, but I hope I'm going to be able to do that. And, that's going to make me proud. So, I mean, Sarah, I'm not trying to belittle the question, but I'm just saying that we shouldn't keep waiting for, something which we think is
Big.
really big. Yeah, that has to happen to make us feel accomplished and then say, okay, now I'm proud of this. I feel every little win should be celebrated. I mean, life is too short to be able to keep on thinking of one big thing which has to happen. I mean,
Ah,
every little win is going to add up. I mean, yeah, Sarah, every little thing I think should be celebrated and be happy about. That's what life's about for me.
yeah, completely. And I do love the way you turn that question around, because it is so true. It's all the small things each and every day that add up to the bigger achievements that we have. And again, these things don't happen in a day. So we have to be able to tune into those little things. And I know so many of us are high achievers. We achieve a lot. We're very good at checking boxes and moving on. And so many of us forget to actually appreciate those little things that we're actually achieving on the way, or stopping when we've achieved that big thing to really, feel it and allow that celebration to happen. So totally with you. I love what you're talking. I guess I've just got one more question, or maybe two. But you've done a lot, you've got a lot of experience, you are like active in various different roles. But what are the things that you maybe still struggle with? What are the things that maybe still sometimes wake you up at night?
I think prioritization is something that I still try to work towards. Again, maybe it comes out of the fact that I wear so many different hats, and all of them are equally important to me. So sometimes I struggle with prioritizing and deciding what is the best use of my time as of now, as of today. Again, I'm better than I was before, but there is still work left to be able to do that. And a lot of people say you should learn to say no. I do say no. It's not that I don't say no for things, but even then there are so many different things which I feel that I would like to be able to contribute to and get done, that prioritization, that delegation aspect is something that I'm still struggling with a bit. So if you have any tips, Sarah, you're a coach, tools and tricks and what I should do, I would love to hear, yeah, how to become better at this.
Always. There's always a way, and it always starts with us, like you said. So we can take that conversation offline, most definitely. But what would be your one piece of advice to kind of close this conversation for all the people who are watching this now, but also may watch this in the future? Maybe to your younger self. What's that piece of wisdom?
Yeah, I would say just go and do whatever you want to do, and don't care about what somebody else thinks about it or says, because and this is, I think, so even more so for women than for other people. You see, if a woman decides to have a career and not have children, people will say something. If she decides to have children, people will still say something, that she's not spending enough time with them or not doing this or that. If she chooses to focus a lot on the career, they're going to say you're not looking after the family. If they're just looking after the family, oh, you're just a housewife. I mean, it doesn't matter what one does, there are always people who are going to say something. So my advice would be, just go and do whatever you feel you want to do and makes you happy, and then everything else will kind of fall into place. And then celebrate each and every little thing. I mean, be grateful for each and every little thing and little win, and try to turn things around by always looking at the brighter side of things and say, oh, this went well, because of this, rather than trying to talk about the negative aspect about this did not go well. There are a lot of times you will see in question papers that teachers mark or all of that, they highlight the stuff which doesn't work well in red, whereas there is so many greens, right? So if somebody gets a 97 out of 100, people say, oh, you missed 3 points, but it's like, hey, I got 97, right? So I think it's about always focusing on the positive and the brighter side of things, and yeah, doing your best, and just doing your thing. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Finding that space where you feel that you can contribute, and like you say, that lights you up. And I always say, like, looking for the energy. I wish someone had said to me when I was younger, go follow the energy. If you're excited by something, go explore it. Let yourself get excited, rather than feeling like you must do this because this is what's expected. And so I think
Absolutely.
bringing all of what you've said together was actually amazing. Be grateful for what you have, make sure that you're doing what it is that you love. And yeah, I really wish someone someone had been a lot clearer with me when I was younger. But then again, I wouldn't be where I am today had I not been through the experiences I have. And I'm sure that's part of what you say too. So thank you so much today for sharing this. I feel like my cheeks are hurting because I've been smiling so much. But you and I have got a hell of a lot more that we can talk about, and I hope
Oh,
we can do
yes,
this at some point.
absolutely.
Thank
But
you
thank you.
so
Thank you
much.
so much, Sarah, for inviting me. Thanks so much for everyone who's been watching and who are going to watch it in the future. If you would like to reach out to me, Sarah will leave the credentials. Feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to have a chat.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll talk again soon. Take care for now. Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.